You're watching the Motorola One Macro Disassembly. First, go ahead and remove the SIM tray. Next, go ahead and heat the back up so you can loosen up the adhesive underneath the back plate. And once you've done that, go ahead and insert a plastic pry tool in between the frame and the back plate and work your way around the phone, prying the back off. Alright, now be careful, you still have a cable for the fingerprint reader attached to the main board. You're going to have to disconnect that. There's a plastic cover over here covering the connector. Just pop that off. Next, go ahead and disconnect the cable from the main board. Alright, go ahead and peel off this film. Alright, so there's 18 T5 screws you need to remove, so you'll be able to remove the top and bottom cover. Go ahead and remove those. Alright, once you got the screws removed, in order to remove the top cover, there's a small latch over here. You're going to have to use a tool and put in between and pop that latch. Then work your way around. There's one more catch over here. So before I move any further, let me point this out. If any of you are having any earpiece issues, the connectors for the earpiece are over here on the main board, and the earpiece is right here itself with the two connectors right here. So in order to make a connection, there's a small flex cable over here on the back side of the top cover. So if this cover is not firmly pressed down and screwed back into place properly, you'd have a connection issue and there will be no power supplying to the earpiece over here or giving it signal. So just keep that in mind. Okay, next we're going to disconnect the battery cable. Pop it up. Next we're going to disconnect the two wire cables on the corner over here. Just pop them up. And then disconnect the two flex cables here. You have copper tapes covering the connectors for the cameras. Peel those copper tapes off. So just to point out, this is your 2 megapixel macro vision camera. This is going to be your main camera that has 13 megapixel. This is going to be your depth camera, which has 2 megapixel. And this black thing over here is your laser autofocus sensor. The flash for the camera is going to be this right here. Alright, let's go ahead and disconnect the cameras and remove them. Here's your 2 megapixel depth camera. Here's your 13 megapixel main camera. And here's your front facing camera. You have two T5 screws holding down the main board. Go ahead and remove those. Now we're going to lift up and remove the main board. So here's the back of the main board. You have your macro camera right here, your headphone jack, you have your SIM slot right here. You also have contacts over here on the main board, which make a contact with this flex cable over here, giving signal to your proximity sensor. So here's the back of the board with the shields removed. As you can see, there's some pink thermal paste. I'm going to go ahead and clean those up. There you go. So here's the front of the board with the shield removed. I wasn't able to remove this shield since it's mounted onto the board and I'll damage the board breaking it off. Alright, next we're going to remove the speaker assembly down here. So here's the speaker assembly itself. We're going to disconnect this cable over here attached to the charger port board. And then you have two wire cables over here as well. Disconnect those. You have one T5 screw over here you have to remove. Now you can lift up and remove the charger port board. So here's a close-up of that. Your microphone is located underneath here. As you can see right there, it's that gold square looking thing. Here's the back side of that. Alright, in order to remove the battery, there's no easy pull tabs, so it's a very difficult process. You're going to have to first use a heat gun or a blow dryer to heat up the frame gently around the battery, so it can help loosen up the adhesive underneath the battery and make it easier to pry off. Next, use a small thin plastic pry tool you can get in between the bottom of the battery and the frame over here. There's a lip over here in the frame. And then you're going to have to gently work your way underneath it. You're going to do just enough so you can get some room to be able to put a larger pry tool, preferably a membership card. And apply heat throughout the process so it makes it easier every time you get some leverage underneath the battery. So here's the battery itself. It's a KG40 battery. So at this point you're left with the mid frame over here. You have your vibrator motor there, your earpiece here. You have your cable for your screen right here. And it's run through a slit over here in the frame. And you have this cable over here which connects your main board to your charger port board. Your flex cable for your power and volume buttons is located over here and it's run through the mid frame. So if you want to replace that or gain access to it, you're going to actually have to pry the screen off from the front. I really don't like how they do that, but what can you do? And if you wanted to replace your screen, you just have to basically heat the front of the screen up. So you'd loosen up the adhesive and then you would pry the screen off from the front. And you have your cable over here, so you'd have to basically disassemble the back of the phone first. So you could disconnect your cable, remove the battery, so you'd be able to peel up the cable over here for the screen and run it through the slit over here in the mid frame. And then you take your new screen, apply new adhesive, run the cable through the mid frame, apply your screen from the front, and then connect the cable and just reverse the process. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put the phone back together. Once all your screws are back in place, connect your cable for your fingerprint reader back to the main board. Put the plastic cover back over. And then apply some new adhesive around the back of the phone. Then put your back plate back over. Flip it around. Power it on. And you're done. Thanks again for watching, guys. I'll see you guys in the next video.